Hello everyone, welcome back to Durbanites FPL Game Week 24 review, Game Week 25 preview. Let's start as usual with the table, and things are closer than ever. Another big week for many teams with a double game week for Liverpool and Everton. But look at this, the lead at the top now, only 14 points. It is so close. At any time, Mobin is looking to move into the top spot unless the Chiefs can defend. But that's not the only close run thing. Looking at 4th and 5th, absolute dead heat here between the cousins. So the champ trying to fight off the contenders behind him, and only 9 points behind them is Dora the scorer in 6th place. So it is very tight in the table. And that's not the only place though. If you look at the battles as well, Hassen making big moves, a colossal 128 for him this week. Big move up the table into 7th spot, now even looking to think about challenging 6th. But then just underneath him, Coconut Strand and Kalechi, both of them really close, so 19 points just between those three. It is a battle for sure. Now, looking at the player selection, look at this. Cole Palmer has lost at least one fan along the way. So Cole Palmer is down to 92%, as is Mo Salah. 11 out of 12 managers still preferring that pairing. Lewis Hall is still in there with 3/4 of the managers holding on to him. Alexander Isak slipped a little, and Cody Gakpo has entered the fray, specifically I guess because of the double game week for Liverpool and another game week coming up now, so hopefully he will be paying off for those managers. Big differentiators though, Jean-Philippe Mateta doing excellently, double figures this week, just one manager having him on the team. Same for Nico Williams, same for Anthony Elanga and Daniel. All of single differentiators in there, and then Alison Becker playing the double game week, owned by 2 managers and giving them 10 points apiece. Now looking at the hits and misses for this week, too many centurions to mention, guys, so we're going to call out the Stonewalls, myself, Fatih, Didi and Squish, the queen of defense, coming up with Stonewall this week. On the super strikers, just Mopes doing really well, with Chris Woods also in that lineup. And then Hassan Ahmed deserves a call out, even though it was a centurion. But that triple captain play on Mo Salah, 87 points. That's the way you got to use that chip. Well done to the young man. On the misses side though, Didi picks up 31 points, our second flaming hot bench of the season. Insane amount of points sitting on the bench would have really helped him in that run up the table. Now, looking at the best possible selection for the team, it's a big one this week. Alisson taking the number 1 jersey, playing a 5-2-3. You don't see that very often. 5 defenders at the backs, Nico Williams, Daniel Munoz, and Robinson from Liverpool doing well. Alexander Arnold also featuring for Liverpool, as is Aid Nouri. Then you've got Salah and Elanga in that midfield. Salah dominating there as the captain. Then Mateta, Raul and Wood up front. No place on the field for Enzo, Cole Palmer or Martinelli, all on the bench, and Sells getting the backup keeper jersey. Now, 164 points for this selection just for the normal captaincy, and 187 with that bench at a very affordable 99.3, if you can believe that. So, what does this mean? Looking at this week, the assistant manager chip is still in play, guys. So just a reminder on the rules here. For those that want to know, there is a double game this week as well. So if you've got Unai Emery and Arne Slot, both of them have a double game week this week, which means that if you play the chip this week, you will get them for 4 weeks. Actually, funnily enough, if you played them last week for Arne Slot, you would have had him for 5 games instead of 3. Nevertheless, that's done now. Now we need to look at who's going to play them going ahead. Arne Slot does have a red card. It makes no difference to the assistant manager chip. If you use him, you will still get the points based on Liverpool's win. Unai Emery probably has slightly the better games coming up for the 4 games, and is also lower placed than Liverpool, so a lot of chances for him to get those bonus points. So think about that if you're going to play them this week. Now looking at the costs as well, as you can see, costs haven't changed that much. You've got Slot and you've got Emery. Emery is almost half the cost, so pretty affordable at 0.8, and a chance for him to get big points against some of the teams. Slot doing really well because of Liverpool's performance, but again, tough games coming up ahead. Newcastle lying in wait for them, as well as Aston Villa in a tough game at Villa Park. So it's going to be a tough one. Time for you to make those choices. Looking at the fixture rating for the next 6 weeks, so some tough ones here. You've got Liverpool and Aston Villa taking each other on, so giving it a bit of a shade this week. But they do have Ipswich and Wolves, both home games, so look for some big points from those games. You've got Arsenal, who's got Leicester and West Ham coming up. They'll want to keep the pressure on the top. Bournemouth, with their form, they've got Southampton, Wolves coming up. Expect that there will be a lot of goals in those games. That's what I expect with their attacking football. Again, Kluivert or Tara, these are guys that you might want to be favouring. And then you've got Brentford as well. So Brian and Wimos doing really well. They've got West Ham, Leicester, and Everton. Probably a good run before you might give them a break. Looking at the teams to be cautious with, there's a lot of reds and oranges coming up, guys. Brighton have not been doing fantastically well. They've got Chelsea this week. They've got Bournemouth, Fulham, Manchester City, and Villa in the next 5 out of 6 weeks. So you got to be super careful about them. Same thing with Manchester City, with Manchester United, and Newcastle. You can see the tough teams lining up there. Chelsea as well, and they have not been firing. They've been trying, but not a lot of it has been working out. Same for Fulham, City as well. Tough games coming up and tough results for them as well in the midweek. Notts Forest been banging in a lot of goals as well. Chris was in good form. Again, Fulham, Newcastle, Arsenal, Manchester City, and then Manchester United at the end of that run. You got to think about whether it's time to do a bit of a clean out. And then, of course, Spurs are struggling, and they've got Manchester United this week. So two sides that are in trouble, duking it out, and then tough games to come for the rest of them. Now, what that means, let's look at the end of the transfer window at the end of the last game week. So, looking at the outbound, we've covered a lot of them. João Felix has now left Chelsea and headed to PSG, if I'm not mistaken, for a bit of a loan spell. Armstrong's left Southampton and Bazoum as well. The goalkeepers left Southampton after a long injury spell. Looking at the inbound, Aston Villa have got Marco Asensio, the ex-Real Madrid player that brought him in from PSG on loan. Fantastic signing, and he's been having great link-up play. Also, Willian is coming back to Fulham. He did have a spell there as midfielder. He's now come back as a free agent, so look at him getting some play. Manchester United strengthen up that left wing-back position by getting in Patrick Dorgu, coming in from Serie A. Possibly a good signing and looking like he is at least gelling with the team for now. And Matisse Tell, the forward at Tottenham, is the guy to watch for. Spurs are struggling with goal scorers at this moment in time. Richarlison's out, so is Solanke. So look at Tell being the first name on that sheet. Looking at the interleague moves, we covered a few of these as well, but then let's start with the big one. Marcus Rashford moving from Manchester United to Aston Villa. Unai Emery does like his style and is favouring him to play. Now, when we look at Villa's injury list, you'll probably see why Rashford is probably a good transfer in for this week. He might play right up front for Villa. Then you've got Axel Disasi also moving from Chelsea to Villa. Evan Ferguson moving from Brighton to West Ham, so not getting much game time after his injury, and with the form of João Pedro as well as Welbeck. He's been struggling a little bit, but now hopefully at West Ham he'll get a chance to shine. And Ben Chilwell, who has been out of favour at Chelsea, now moving to Crystal Palace to shore up that defence. Now, looking at the selections for this week, surprise, surprise, goalkeepers seem to be all fully fit except for Elton Bayendero, so the backup keeper at Manchester United, who is highly doubtful, but the rest are all available. So from that, we look at the picks of Raya from Arsenal, Kepa for Bournemouth, and Flecken from Brentford based on the fixtures they have coming up. Looking at the injuries to defenders, Lisandro Martinez from Manchester United has probably played his last game of the season. Botman's out for Newcastle currently, and Burns doubtful. Cash and Konsa out for Villa this week. Estupinan out for Brighton, and you've got Westergaard from Leicester, who is doubtful. Our picks though center around Arsenal with two good games coming up. You could choose any of these defenders: Gabriel Saliba, Calafiori, and Timber, all of them capable of getting clean sheets and scoring goals. Then you've got Guardiola from Manchester City. Now, City is going to be playing a different style of football. Ruben Diaz is back, which means that there is at least some cover on the defensive side, which means Guardiola could be roaming a lot more. Same for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Had a good game, double game week again for him this week, as is Konate, who's a better price pick. And then Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth, who is known for scoring goals as well. In the midfield, we've got again for Manchester City still some injury trouble there, but Doku's back and Grealish is now doubtful to play. Saka is out, as is Martinelli. Arsenal having a lot of trouble in that midfield. McNeil still out for Everton, as is Bowen doubtful for West Ham. Newcastle also facing some trouble. Harvey Barnes, Joe Linton, and Gordon now doubtful. Brennan Johnson still not back for Spurs, and Jones still not back for Liverpool. Hudson-Odoi still doubtful for Forest, and Wilson is out for Fulham. Still plenty of picks for this week though. Cole Palmer and Noni Madueke for Chelsea. If anyone's going to make a change, these are the guys. For Liverpool, you've got to look at Mo Salah's strong captaincy choice for this week as well. Villa with a double game week, you want to look at Morgan Rogers, the young talent Yuri Tielemans, and again Marcus Rashford, who is a midfielder but could very well play up front for Aston Villa this week due to the injury concerns. Then you've got Gordon from Newcastle. Again, tough games coming up, and he is doubtful, but a good choice for now. You've got Foden and De Bruyne and Manchester City. Again, Manchester City with their defense coming back slowly. They are looking at Foden being on form. De Bruyne is also coming back. Tough games, but they are a tough team. From Arsenal, you've got Trossard, who could also play up front, and Odegaard to hold up that midfield with Saka and Martinelli out. Not too many attacking choices there. Brian Mbeumo with Brentford, definitely someone who's on form for this season and could contribute points. And then the Bournemouth pairing of Kluivert and Ouattara. These guys are doing so well, and Bournemouth's run of games means they are likely to get within the score cards. If you have them, keep them. If you can afford them, probably bring them in. They are good outside wildcard picks. Now, looking at the forwards, terrible list of injuries here. Callum Wilson still doubtful for Newcastle. Kai Havertz and Gabby Jesus are out for Arsenal, which means you might see a makeshift forward up front. Solanke and Richarlison out for Spurs. So again, this is why I say Matthias Tell is probably going to be 100% on that starting lineup. Stan Larsen still doubtful for Wolves. Nicholas Jackson is now out for Chelsea. And then Watkins is doubtful. He's picked up a little knock for Villa. Gakpo's picked up a knock for Liverpool. With the double game week, it might be Nunes that plays instead of him. We'll have to see how that works out. And Vardy, who's getting a bit aged now, is picking up a knock for Leicester. That still leaves us with a couple of picks now. Isak's got tough games and he has blanked in his last outing. However, being the top scorer in the Fantasy Premier League, at least among forwards, means you've got to give him a call out. Gakpo's been doing really well, and Nunes as well has been showing some good form. With the injury to Gakpo, you've got to look at Nunes as well as a possible replacement. Then you've got Chris Wood for Forest. Fantastic season for him. Really, really racking up the points. Tough games coming up though, but again, you can't really leave him out. Same with Ollie Watkins. Good games coming up. Has been showing some good form recently. Yohan Wissa with Brentford's run of games. You expect he might get on the scoreboard. Matthias Tell, so far, not really shining, but if Spurs are going to score, he's probably the best route coming in, except for Heung-min Son. And then Jean-Philippe Mateta has come back absolutely screaming after an injury layoff. He is scoring a lot of goals for Crystal Palace. Definitely a good outside pick. So that's what we have for this week. Only 2 hours left for you to make your changes. Get on it quickly. Let's see who's going to play the assistant manager chip, and we'll report on all of that in the catch up next week. For now, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop us a comment, and we'll catch you next week. So long for now.